Very inspiring. When I come back, I would be happy if I came back maybe for Ekyooto MPANGO like season 3, if there are seasons, or 3 years from now, somewhere either a director or you have a small startup. It is also possible. So you're most welcome, Kojo. I don't want to preempt anything, but what I'm sure about is you have something to pick from him. Thank you so much. He's not clapping, and I make them clap with their feet.
Good afternoon, everyone. Now, one of the things you must endeavor to do is to communicate the right energy at all times. Even when sleeping, have the right energy for sleep. Because if you do not, you are the best representation of yourself is what you actually give. And no one else is going to do that for you, unfortunately. Very unfortunate. So the best opportunities you have in life are here and today and with you now. So if you crave a different you, if you want to see something different for yourself, for your life, for your families, for your businesses, ladies and gentlemen, I encourage you to get ready. I'll share with you one experience, growing up, and eventually I got for the first time to sit on a plane. And hearsay, okay, you sit on a plane, lifts, a bit of turbulence, all of those things I'd had by default, I'd heard of before. But I want to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, when the opportunity for me to get on a plane arrived, obviously, it's first things first. Things like check-in, put your bags there, that is fine. I'll expedite it to sitting on the plane, okay? And everything starts to replay. If you're here and you've been on a plane, let me see your hand up. Okay? For those that haven't, it's coming. Amen. Let me hear an amen. Amen. It's happening. Come on. Oh, yeah? Now, sit on the plane. The captain in command says, ladies and gentlemen, cabin crew, you may be seated. Take your seats. It's time to take off. Now, thereafter, keep in mind the plane was basically taxed. It's called taxiing, There's actually a massive, massive unit that taxis the plane to when it almost gets to the runway. Now, it is independent. In other words, it's released. Now is my time for action. Everything keeps playing, replaying. Okay, how can such a big thing lift? What did I actually subscribe to? What was I actually excited about to begin with? Long story short, the core of this message is that there's gotta be intention to what you want to do. If you are that plane, hit the runway, and you're not sure about what you want to do, it's bad news, okay? What is it? Come on, guys, we're talking about, okay? Now, in due time, when a plane is ready, I didn't know. It's my first time. And even for you guys, for your first time, you will know that, sure, this is the gear. Let's call it a gear, okay? It's full thrust. Everything changes. Like, you will know that this is the most long-awaited moment, and it's about to happen. You will sure know. In other words, at that, I didn't even have to second guess it. I knew that we were about to hit the skies indeed. And this is why. The sound, the talk, everyone is in silence, let's say. Everyone is seated. Off we hit it. Full thrust, that's what we call it. Now the plane starts to hit the runway. Remember runway, okay? Let's call this table a runway. In other words, you're here, and before you're at the end of it, you must have actually done what? Delivered on the promise, which is hitting the skies. Beyond which, if you start here, and in the middle you're like, at the end of it you're like, I'm not sure, it's impossible, it's too late. Okay? These planes carry up to 800 passengers on one thing. Now imagine this whole building going, okay? Back to the core, the gist of the message, okay? If you mean to do anything, if you mean to come here today to tap in, okay? You're very lucky, actually. Clap for yourselves, by the way. Let's start there. Now, the people that were here this morning, the people you have in this room, your souls, amongst your souls, the digital world, I can tell you that your possibilities are unending if you do one thing. Decide to live with intention and purpose. You mean it, I'm going for it. Now that's why we come here, to be honest. Out of this whole discussion, when you're asked to ask anything, is it true that there's nothing to ask about? Is it true that these guys were so impressive that you were out of words, speechless? Or am I right to imagine that you actually even want to ask something, but you're like, there's always this little, the devil, let's call it. Oh, come on, you're not going, does it even make sense? How do I sound? Who actually cares about how you sound? And who says how you sound isn't exactly what we want to hear? But also who says the question you have to ask is not the divider, is not the real deal maker or breaker. Gentlemen, please remind me of your name again.
Kachomia.
I beg your pardon?
Kachomia Isidore.
Kachomia.
Yes.
Very good. I remember that he asked the first question. And it was so relevant that I saw everyone's eyebrows go, what? To be honest, when he walked in here, I saw a gentleman sit, and I thought, okay, it's very interesting. It's very diverse, this audience. Had he not asked anything, I swear to God, never would have remembered Kachomia. Never. There's no reason. Isidore. Never whatsoever. Because what? How many other people do we meet every day? Now I asked a question. Very relevant question. Now the first business card I've exchanged in this room today is to this gentleman. Proactive. Okay? He reached out, he said, give me a paper, name, contact. I said, here's my card. Okay? Now, opportunity will come after us every day. Your best opportunity is to do one thing. Who knows what that is? I beg your pardon? Embrace it. Then it says, show up. Anyone else? Anything? Come on, guys. I want us to break that spirit of intimidation. Come on. No one, let me tell you, by default, I don't care one bit how you sound, how you look, what you ask. The only thing I care about is what? The only thing I care about is one, relevance. Of course, now let's be relevant. The other thing is learning from you, You learn from me, adding value, that's it. Basically, it's value addition, and that's it. Now, all those things in the end, I take it back to one thing, being intentional. Now, some of us have ideas that we think are good ideas to execute, to deliver. If you are not intentional about it, your idea, one, is going to expire. Second, be sure that someone is going to do it. Number third, be sure that one day you're going to die with your idea. Is that right or not? Okay? In my own experience, I have learned that you have an idea, execute. There's gotta be lots of learning to come, but until you come and say, I am doing this project, and I'm looking for resources to make it better, I'm looking to learn from the experts in the field, it's only an idea. And to be honest, it's not relevant. I will close the first chapter of my introduction, or at least beginning, with this reassurance, reaffirmation. It's quite confrontational, actually, because I don't want to come and tell you that everything is okay when it's not. It's very unlawful. It's very disrespectful. It is so bad, let's say, for any one of us to live under the fullest of potential. Does that make sense? It is so bad. In another word, I would say it's so disgusting. It stinks that you are seated on the potential that you truly are called to be. All in the name of self-sabotage. Am I good enough? What will they say? Who cares? Is this idea good enough? Who cares? Do it and let judgment come later. Ladies and gentlemen, I first shiver away the spirit of intimidation in every one of you. I want you to know that you are worthy of anything. The ideas we're about to talk about are tangible. And I'm going to give you my own experience, real time. Okay? Now, if you're here and you're in business, if you're here, want to start a business, I'm going to proclaim that all of us live as business owners. Very good. I had a clap. Someone clapped. Thank you, sir. I'll say it again. If you're in business, and if you're about to start a business, if you're thinking about it, okay, I want for all of us to proclaim and ask for these businesses to come to life by end of today. Amen. My name is Justus Kojo. I am the founder to the Ultimate group of companies. We are in adventure, fitness, tourism. And I will tell you for sure, one of our very first products was cycling, bicycles. And I remember that there was a Dutch guy who said to me, oh, you think that anyone is going to buy a bicycle for $1,000 in Uganda? And I told him, yeah. $1,000 could be about maybe 3.6 million. I said, sure, I see that possible. And I remember so vividly that the impression, the face he gave me was wrong idea. We got started. And today, ladies and gentlemen, the biggest problem we have internally, also as encouraged by COVID, is that we are actually out of bicycles. In other words, we've sold all of them, and we're looking for more. Thank you very much. Now, just to give you the base of it, okay? Now, hypothetically thinking, okay, who, first of all, is going to buy a bicycle at that amount? And I would like to actually remind you that we build them up to $20,000. Amos Wekesa has two. Each of his bikes is $15,000. Each of his bikes is, give or take, 50 million, if the math is right, okay? From us, and it's a Ugandan brand. I beg your pardon? I'm a Mnyoro, by the way. I'm a Mnyoro. My pet name is Akiki. I was born and raised in Barra, Beats. So it's a fuse of Ankole, Bunyoro, but also obviously living in Kampala, Buganda. But again, Fort Portal is home. Okay? Fast forward, we quickly realized that there was a market to actually hang out with people on their bicycles. Let's take you out cycling a bike. Said, okay, when we got into the market in Kampala, a bike rental was basically 30,000 shillings. Maximum 60. We valued our assets, appreciating that our entry-level bicycle for rental was $1,000, let's say 3.6 million, and dictated today's prevailing bike rental rate in Kampala for $30, 110,000. Now remember that we started at that to say, well, we know that we have very good bikes. Everyone else is renting at 30,000 shillings. We are going to rent at 110,000 shillings. And we started. And I could tell you that the rest is history. Grace, glory, grace. And that gave us the opportunity to actually grow and expand, to go into so many other products that hopefully I'll tell you about later. Okay? The inspiration behind all of this is I want us to think, and I will be able to actually show you some of the figures that you can work with, being as simple and as basic, whilst selling experiences. Okay? Now, we went through the idea of a cow. I know that some of you are very interested in hair. My challenge already is, and I'll start to hear from the audience, how many of us are in a beauty hair business? Okay? I'm curious to hear from you how you think you can sell what you do as an experience. Maybe I'll take this assignment over to everyone. Imagining what you do, even as far as students, by the way. I want you to imagine that which you can sell for an experience. Amoti, what do you do? Yeah, I beg your pardon? But what do you currently do? What do you do right now? Hairdressing. How can you sell? Are you, by the way, passionate about hairdressing? Is it something you really like? Or you're doing it just for the money, or? Yeah, so what? You like it. You'd suffer for this, you know? Very good. Now, let's actually hope Amoti. She's a hairdresser. How can we build experiences that can plug into, let's say, I'll speak for tourism in my case, that can plug into the tourism industry ecosystem to actually contribute to selling Fort Portal for the place to come to? Any ideas? Anyone with an idea? About hair, yes, in particular.
Yes, because I was going to give her a challenge.
Yes, Which is it?
I'd love to see how she would go about trying to get me. Interesting experience.
Yeah? off the top of my head, I can tell you that, and I see, especially excuse this word, the mzungus, they like to have, for instance, braided hair here, They like it a lot. Do you want to basically market across the lodges or technology platforms that it is something that they not just wear, but also learn to actually do the twists you do? Just so saying. Remind me of your name again? Kristen, what do you do? Senior for vacation. Okay, very good. Kristen, do you know any lakes in Fort Portal or in Tooro? Yeah? Do you know anyone that, do you know any parks around us? Yeah? Do you know anything that's somewhat cool to do in Tooro? If you had visitors from Kampala or the US, are there any ideas of things that you'd want them to see and try? Yeah? Like what? Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, you said, so sorry, I'll ask you to stand up. And I'll ask you to speak so loudly, boldly, and beautiful, because that's what you are. Okay?
So I was saying, like, I would love to bring them to our region to have the most beautiful things that anyone would actually love to have a look at it. So in the process, they would come, they would love to take photos, right? So when they take photos, I would invite those people, like, with cameras. In the process, they're making money, right? When they go, they will post photos because they're so happy, they're so excited about it. They know it's beautiful, they find fun about it. So after posting their photos, people will get attracted. Like, where is that area? Like, let's say people don't know anything about this region. Like, it's on social media, people on Facebook, like Instagram and stuff. So when they see photos, they will be attracted to come in here. So when they come in, because the hotels will have to care of them. Like, again, they'll have to rent lodges and then transport. You see? So in that process, I see there is a
You're adding value. Very good. Thank you very much. Let's clap for her. Now, I can tell you that, okay, let's actually look at this as a case. How can Kristen, right? How can Kristen use her knowledge to build a business? How is that a business? The discussion for later is how do you even position yourself on respective technology platforms to sell the above mentioned to the broader and the wider rest of the world. But now let's use Kristen's case, okay? If you have the knowledge, do you know what in my own opinion, I think that unfortunately, Africa's biggest problem is basically mindset. That's why we get leaders coming to power only to steal, to take away. They have not understood that leadership is serving, You've got to toil, okay? As recently in Dubai for the Dubai Air Show, I'm in aviation as well, and I can tell you 20 years ago what was a desert. It's stunning, it's amazing. Let me tell you from a resource perspective, obviously they have the oil, that's fine. But I would still like to imagine that what, for instance, Tooro Kingdom is. In comparison, those guys have sand. But nonetheless, they will have turf, very natural turf, in the middle of a desert. They have parks. Do we have any recreational parks aside from the reserves or the national parks? So really the power of the mind or the mindset that we all carry is our biggest either strength or weakness, depending on where or how switched on you are. And actually that's the most common word lately. truly, you must get switched on. Now, Christian has the knowledge. Do you know what platforms like TripAdvisor do? Someone is seated in California. They create a platform that sells exactly what you know and have. You are a local, born here, but they are basically selling that online. They're selling the experiences online. When you, the local, are actually not taking advantage of that. So in other words, how can we help Kristen build a business out of what she knows, what she has? You don't have to own all the perks. I mean, no one has to actually, but you have the knowledge. You know how to get there, you know who to talk to, you know what to see, you know what to expect. How do we use that knowledge to actually make revenues, a sustainable business out of it? I'm curious, I'm keen to hear any ideas for Kristen. I say what? The question is, Kristen has the knowledge. She's local. She's from Tooro Kingdom. She knows where the Mabere are. She knows the respective crater lakes. She talked about photography. She has the places that she is sure any visitor would actually truly be satisfied with. How then how can she build a business out of that? Yeah. One second.
One, Christine has a phone
Yes.
and she can load data on a daily basis to talk to friends or to get more information about what's trending. She can use that same data to talk to her friends or to invite them to food to come. Now she doesn't have photographers and she does not have enough. But when her friends are coming and they are sure that they're coming, one, maybe she has friends with cameras. Two, she may be having people with vehicles, so she does not own one. This is what they're going to do. She can, when the friends arrive, maybe they can come by bus or whatever they need. The meeting point is photo. She'll call the photographers, the friends. They will contribute money for them to transport them to that place. Now, it will be like in form of contribution, the little they have, so long as they get the entry fee and that is the first group. She's now trying to earn experience. They will go visit that place, take photos, and upload them. On the first trial, you're not expecting to get huge money, but all you're looking at is skill and experience. Like to test, like you'd be like, can this really come out well? Even if I don't get enough money. So after uploading, you will tag some people. So on camera, so on transportation. Now you will get another group because you've uploaded it. Now people are getting to know it. You're selling it out. The next group, they will not pay the exact money that these people pay. They will be like money because they are not interested in all these things.
Now this here you'll be like, you can pay for photos, you can, transportation is this, right? Then you visit that place. Now, Christine can start up a business from there and get us more profit by not owning a car and by not owning a camera. Then with time, the little money you get, you'll be able to at least save for the camera first, and then later own a vehicle to be transporting the people who are coming.
Thank you very much. Most appreciated. Atoki, right? Amoti, yes. Yes, please.
Thank you.
Teacher.
I'm now a participant.
Yes, please.
I love learning a lot, so I hope I'm not taking advantage for another question. So starting with her is, I hope you can see things from my perspective. So I'm not only strictly looking at business of I sell you something and you give me money. First of all, I would use her salon business to create an experience by, now from the place I stay in Kampala or the places I've been to, these days we don't plait hair because it's a trend. We have issues like hair breakage or pain after plaiting hair. Now the salons that are there, what they do, they show us how they can plait me that my hair cannot break, right? Or how they can plait me that my hair lasts longer. And that is what I sell. So I'm using it as a marketing tool and creating confidence for my customers. Then the exchange will be in paying the money. So I would use your skill on how you plait hair and how to make sure that I'm assuring somebody their hair won't break, or it's going to last longer, or it's going to be safe when they plait with me, even a style that they have plaited with someone before and their hair couldn't maintain it. So I would use it as a marketing tool. Christine's idea, I would do from what we had in the morning about the fourth industrial revolution, the phone and the digital. Everybody's coming this side physically to see what is happening here. So one, I would do what we call virtual tourism. You've heard the word virtual conferences. Right now this session is virtual somewhere, another person is watching us right now, okay? So since Christine knows I'm a Nyamiru, it has history. So I would maybe have a YouTube channel where that is one, or I would build a business around virtual tourism where people are wherever they are in the world, and maybe some Crater Lakes boil, right? So at the point when they are boiling, I actually have a live video happening. Now for you to have access to such unusual experiences, you would have to pay to watch those kinds of videos to me on the business side of the story. And even when I have created that channel, let's say on YouTube, when I reach a certain number, YouTube starts paying me. When I reach a certain number of followers, we shall see some of those tools. You know what YouTube is. So the people that you're following, actually when you accumulate to like 100,000 people, YouTube itself starts to pay you. So I'm either making money from the poor coming to watch those unusual experiences, or I'm trying as much as possible to talk about what is not there about Tooro. I get more followers and YouTube pays me.
Thank you very much. So I think we appreciate that God gave us this beautiful, hard to match, resourceful habitat, and it's the kingdom of Tooro. Now, your best opportunity, I think that Atoki, right? Oh my God. Amoti was trying to tell you, for instance, is that, and it's actually no rocket science. The only thing is you'd have to do it a bit different, okay? In other words, if you are a tour agency, okay? What these guys do basically have the knowledge as of places to go to. They also have the service providers. Okay, in other words, you don't need to own a Jeep. Don't even look at it as a safari truck because you don't need it to start. Now, Amos Wekesa was here as a tour guide, briefcase, started with $200, okay? $200. And we all know the man he has become now. My point of reference is he's the godfather of tourism. You know, when I'm chatting over anything, I say, if Amos didn't come, then tourism didn't happen, you know, like for a conference or anything. So to say, your best advantage now is It's new age. How do you actually beat the odds of every other tour operator? And partly we'll be talking about that. I just want to basically take us to a space and place we were at earlier, okay? Now, I want to invite every one of us in this room, okay? Perhaps also as you fill in or fill up the tool that you were given earlier, I just want us to start thinking. Unless you're comfortable with what you are, where you are, what you have, I want to to instill a different element altogether of a whole new chapter level of reasoning, okay? Part of, I think it's also what happened earlier, it's called design thinking. You know, I just want us to explode on ideas, okay? I want you to appreciate where you are, who you are, your skill sets, and I'm not going to ask for 10 or 5. I'm giving us 5 minutes. I want everyone to come up with 50 ideas that you think you have out of Fort Potro, out of your skill set, out of your neighbor's yard, to be an activity that we can incorporate into the kingdom's tourism catalog. And this is also what will happen later, okay? Part of what the innovation we have lately is basically an online marketplace for activities. It's called the Ultimate App. About a month ago we launched, and now we are thirsty for unique ideas. So look at it as a Jumia. Who knows what Jumia is, or who Jumia? Okay, so Jumia is an online, I beg your pardon? Say something, come on, Amoti.
Delivering of things online.
Very good, exactly. So Amoti is murmuring, whispering, self-sabotaging, you know? And she has the explicit answer to it. They deliver things online, that's it, okay? Now, ours is a Jumia for activities, for the ideas that I encourage you to bring on board. In other words, we were brought into this whole festival thing by our friends Talent Africa, who are also under the UNDP Kingdom of Tooro, everything, etc., okay? They said, we know you ultimate for adventure. We want you to come to Tooro and deliver that element of adventure. Bring your bikes, let our people ride, let them have fun, let's get the king on. I said, oh, that sounds really cool. Okay, what else we do? Let's go running, marathons. I said, cool, sounds good. I said, what else? They said, that's it. I said, fine, let's do it this way, on a different approach. Than for us to carry our bicycles, bring them over, than for us to come and pretend like we know Fort Potro more than you do. I promise I don't know nothing here. I mean, I know where I am, but I cannot start pretending that I know Fort more than any of you guys do. Now the idea then shifted to how about we work with the young people within Fort, we tap into their ideas, we exchange, not like we know much, we actually exchange ideas to create ideas that are going to be bold, to create ideas that are unique, to create ideas that are actually going to put Fort Potro to the top of it. That after the festival, this is my favorite way of saying it, after the festival, when the festival lights go off, stage goes down, we are not packing our bikes and equipment gear to go back to Kampala, but you guys who are from here are actually running respective excursions that are directly contributing to the growth of the tourism in this kingdom. Does that make sense? Does it make sense, really? That doesn't sound like it makes sense, actually. Does this make sense?
Yes.
Guys, I don't know. I don't know. We have yet to go back, be the engines on that plane, okay? That doesn't sound like it makes sense, but also doesn't sound like we're ready for something different and unique. Does it truly make sense, guys?
Yes.
Okay? I'll say it one more time. Then for us to come and run cycling here, I'll use cycling, okay? We're actually working with local bicycle shops to be at the front of the festival this whole week. That they are the people running anything cycling at the festival, making real-time money. We said we won't take this money because it's not sustainable. Let a local cycling partner do it so that then we exchange. Oh, this is actually how, in our experience, you decide a good trail. This is actually the things you look out for from a safety standpoint. Oh, this is actually how you manage expectations on the trail. People will be throwing tantrums, they're over it. How do you manage the expectations? That in the end, they had a grand, beautiful experience that they're going to tell their friends about. And we found that very, very smart, wise, but also being the people we are, at least as a founder to Ultimate, I believe in empowering and working with the young people, the youth, because the future is ours. Honestly, it is ours, okay? Now, that takes me back to the quick wins. I'm going to be looking for guides out of this thing, you know, out of this audience. Can you actually work with us to make you the next tour guide, to actually take people to the parks this week? Okay? Can we work with you to take the king on a hike? Do you know what I mean? Do you hear me, guys? I don't think you do. If you did, do you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay? Real time, in real time, okay? It's an idea executable. You will actually get paid because people are signing up. I want to go cycling, hiking, I want to go for a walk. Give us other ideas, you know? As I read through, I mean, it's not necessarily a keynote, but just ideas that I put in. I'll be able to share that either on the platform or anything. But I want to challenge you to think. You have all these water bodies. What's happening? You see this guy? Well, Tubing the Nile is run by a very young guy. The founder, one of the founders is Adam. He is called Adam. Now what they basically do, Brack, excuse me a bit. You see that? Who knows what this is? Who knows what this is? Huh? Yes, please. Very good. It's a tire tube. So it's a tube, okay? A bicycle have a tube inside which you pump and then, okay? Now what basically Tubing the Nile, and the brand is growing, okay? The idea is they get a tube, they pump it, they put a rope, tow it by boat, you sit in it like a donut. Yes, and you're paying 150,000 shillings per person, okay? Now, if anyone can afford that for all of us here, put up your hand. Who wants to take us tubing? Oh, Dennis wants to? Dennis wants to take all of us tubing at 150,000. We have to go to Cavalli, okay? Guys, can we think? Let us start thinking, okay? Now, I'm curious to hear, actually, and someone correct me if I'm wrong, which camera is live? This one, okay? If anyone in the audience thinks that the water in ginger is more capable of tubing than all of the bodies we have in the Tooro kingdom? Please correct us. Okay? So, fellow young people, we've got to think. We've got to get at it. I take you back to the runway. You want to take off, you take off. If you don't want, you stall, come back into the ground and crash. I forgot to tell you that. If you want to take off, come to this end, go for it. Self-sabotage, stall and crash. Okay? Now, I want us, okay, can we even get real, okay? Who can get these tubes here now? Who can get the tubes? No one is looking at that as a business? I want a local to own up to this now and we get working. Who can get these tubes? Are you guys serious? If anyone thinks they can tube in the Tooro, who has? Okay. Who is willing to run this as a business in the Tooro kingdom? Stand up. Please, you may be, yeah. Christine, right? Who else is willing to run tubing in the kingdom? Very good, you may stand up as well, okay? Now, these two people, we're going to make sure that at the festival, they're actually tubing for an experience that you guys are going to pay for. And others, other delegates, including, hopefully, the king doesn't fear water much, but I am telling you that this is what you're trying to achieve, okay? Real time, okay? Now, what do we do from here? Is to put them in touch with Adam, Tubing the Nile, who is experienced. Where do we source these things? I tell you that I can do a fundraiser tonight, and we have 10 of them. If not, maybe I'll put in my money, okay? And you know what the story happens? Unfortunately, I'm not projected, but we have the Ultimate app is already up and live, okay? And then we list them on an online marketplace where they are visible, okay? So in other words, it's not only by festival, it's not only by the Instagram or any other platforms, they're also visible online, okay? Jumia, right? You said if you want to buy a dress, you go to Jumia. You want to buy powder, you go to Jumia, okay? Now this is it for activities. If I come, type in Fort Portal, activities, tubing on Lake Saka. Oh, by the way, ladies, you may be seated, and let's talk right after, okay? In other words, what we're looking for is real time, okay? Okay? Recently, I got up to about 250 backpacks, camel, we call them camel packs, you know? They were given to us by a friend in Canada, you know, says if you have anything for them, take them. I said, we'll pay through the taxes, etc. Very expensive, you know. Every one of them is about 600, 700,000. We said we're going to pay customs, we have them, and we'll be giving them to people adding value to the tourism industry, okay? In other words, if you're a guide, if you're going to be walking, you should have some water to drink on your back. You should have tools. You should have insect repellent. You should have tools that basically aid you on the trail, okay? And I can tell you that these two already have something that adds value to them, okay? So who is ready for the next chapter? And I'll go back. Who wants to see something different? And now I will invite you to the space that I talked about earlier, okay? I want you to use your head. And no idea is wrong. 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 50 ideas. No, let's do 10 minutes. 10 minutes, 50 ideas. This is a seasoned tool, by the way. It's called design thinking. When you're pressured to think, drop something, you actually have very good ideas. Actually, for that reason, I'll take it back to 5 minutes, because 10 might be too long. You might go round and round in your head and actually lose. Okay? I want to challenge everyone in this room. It doesn't matter if you're in hairdressing or not. It doesn't matter if you're a student. Okay? We've seen that Kristen is still a student, but she's now going tubing as an entrepreneur. Okay? If you're a business lady, businessman, lecturer, and you have it by default. But that is an experience. And I know that the king will, okay, what's your pet? I don't have it, okay? Make sure that that's the first step to it. Make sure the person comes back. We can sell that for an experience. It's actually not over until it's truly over. Curate an experience that brings people to Fort Portal just to crown it for that pet. Beautiful, memorable experience. Okay? So quickly, 5 minutes, 50 ideas, starting. Let's do it. Think about something unique that adds value to the kingdom. You say what? Yeah. How much more time do you think we have? So I try to...
I think we should be done by maybe 40.
Okay. I'll do as...
The same? Yeah.
Yeah.
Then they can go for lunch and come back.
Okay, thank you.
The problem with the afternoon session is these guys of Mobita here, so this guys will be... I don't know what they are going to do for the other lady.
Okay. Think, guys. Don't even overthink it. Out of curiosity, out of intuition comes the ideas that change the world. What do you have to offer the kingdom from a tourism standpoint as a unique thing? Age, experience is not an excuse. My colleague earlier said, thinking is illegal. Write something, come on. Why not? Think as you write. It's design thinking. You think as you write. Think as you design. Don't over-process it.
We should be having 35 by now.
Please. Come on, guys, let's grind it. Keep thinking, keep writing. All right, it's 2 minutes to go. One minute to go. Guys, keep thinking. That which you almost want to drop might be the game changer. All right. Quickly, I will only want 2 people to share what they think is unique about what they've listed. But what's going to happen is we have the tool we go earlier. It's going to be very important that out of this discussion today, we actually present you as the kingdom's assets from a delivery standpoint for the activities we have for the rest of the festival or the rest of the week and going on. So in other words, I'm taking this opportunity to invite you and those ideas to actually be part of the festival from an adventure perspective. Is that clear? Okay, so the tool you have, I would like to actually work with anyone that's very keen. By the way, don't waste your time, don't waste my time. Anyone that's very keen on getting us to actually quickly look at the idea. Starting tomorrow, we start putting things into action. You start doing a bit of basic training. I'm sure some of you are already good enough anyway. And then start to rave up to present our case for the rest of the week at the festival and beyond. And I can tell you that your story is going to be very, very, very impactful, especially to the core organizers and funders of this festival. Is that clear? Are you all with me? So 2 people, please. Anyone willing to take the opportunity? 2 people, quickly. Yes, please, Aderi. Who else, quickly? Anyone from this side? Anyone from here? Come on, guys, unacceptable. Anyone from here? Very good. Okay, dokie, let's start with you quickly.
Okay, thank you. I'm Michael. And we are glad that in Tooro we have a lot of tourism.
Try to be louder. Aderi, louder, please.
Yes, we are glad that in Tooro we have a lot of tourism programs and destinations. We have great lakes, where we can do great lakes and do barbecue, do nature walks, do swimming, do tubing we are talking about. These are done in great lakes. We have mountains, where we can do hiking for physical exercises. And we have the palace, where our king resides. Where we can know the cultural things of our culture. We know how many things we are there. We use this information to see where the kingdom is heading to in the future. We have the game parks. Game parks, you can do game play. You can do bird watching. You can see how the people who live near the game parks, they are such a way of living. We also have the primates watching. These are done in game parks. We have the Karami tombs, which are also source of tourism. The tourism products are here. Karam, where they find the kings and others, the kingdom people. We have the tourism, the photo-tourism city itself. Here people can come to explore how the city is moving on, how the people do their things in this city, the city. We have the botanical garden, which is here in Ekyooto. People produce herbs from natural trees. And we also have since tourism is a business, some people come here to see how we benefit from tourism too. We have the police. Some people come to learn. So when you get the police, they would like to see which crimes are commonly committed here. Are we together? They come to see the crimes that are commonly committed here. How do we solve these crimes? How do we go about them? So that is police. We have the hospitals. We have the Amabere caves. We have the escarpments here. We have the markets. I think let me give a chance to my colleague also to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Aderi. So what I want you to focus on is what activity out of that you want to actually showcase. What traffic are we driving you at the festival and beyond? So we start to work on your business model as either you tell us what you want, okay? But thank you very much. Yes, please, quickly, in the interest of time. Okay.
My experience is all about environmental conservation.
Can you hear Kristen? Kristen, do you mind coming quickly, just a bit closer?